NFR.
NFR Extra is a podcast dedicated to the Wrangler National Finals Rodeo and features icons and personalities that embody the Western lifestyle.
You have the other people who attend that when they tell you the stories, like, I've been coming here since I was 12 and now I get to compete here in the arena. Like, those are touching stories that, like, no matter what, the NFR in Las Vegas has been ingrained on who they are. That's what we try to protect. The cowboy tradition and the rodeo tradition is so prevalent in the room, and that history that they have. I mean, I could say, like, I've talked to some, like, truly the legends of rodeo.
Yeah.
They tell you these stories and they just move you. You see them, and it's just like knowing someone's story and seeing the love, and everybody else tells the same story about that person. It just really makes you true, like, love the sport.
Hey, everybody, this is Steve Godert, and you're listening to the NFR Extra.
So I'm outnumbered today on NFR Extra. It's a 2-on-1 Las Vegas fast break. Okay, so I got two people that grew up in Vegas, and I just get to come and visit and take vacations. So we're joined today by Brian Williams. And Brian, I have to ask kind of a random question. For as much as you do for the sport of rodeo, do you own a cowboy hat?
I do own a cowboy hat.
Okay, all right.
I haven't worn it in 10 years, but I do own one.
That's fine. That's fine. You make a lot of cowboys look really, really good with all the work you do. But I've never seen you in one, so I'm like, all right, as much as he does, if not, we're going to get you one. But I'm glad you have one. So first off, I want you to take us back and tell us what it was like growing up in Vegas.
Oh man, I came to Vegas in 1990. And the day we moved here was actually the day of the UNLV basketball national championship parade.
Oh, wow.
So as we're moving in, everybody was leaving in our apartment complex that my mom had found for us. And they were like, where's everybody going? They're like, oh, we're going to the parade. So we were like, let's go to the parade. And then so that was my first 6 hours in Las Vegas, moving from St. Louis.
That's crazy.
It's been just amazing. It's like, I know you kind of come from a small town and stuff like that, but Vegas is a small town. So being here as long as I have, it is weird that we are now at 3 million people. And I feel like there's only like 2,500 people that live here. That's how of a small town feel you get being here in Las Vegas.
What was your first impression? Like first time to town, like what are some of the things that you remember first getting there?
Oh, first getting there, like I said, was that parade. Like, I literally met Larry Johnson and Stacey.
Oh,
I'm like, this is crazy. Like, and then I didn't know anything about basketball at the time, and but meeting these guys and everybody's like super excited, and everyone's out on the strip. Strips shut down, and back in those days when you won a championship, they shut down the whole strip. And then so we're just in line, and they came and shook hands, and it was amazing. Like, that was my first day in Las Vegas. So like, that was a memory you can't get back.
That is crazy, because I can't even imagine that. Like, I'm that next generation. So the first time I even saw any sort of the strip be shut down for a parade was the actual hockey title. And then you see the Golden Knights take over our strip, and it was like, oh my goodness, we are showering Las Vegas attendees with champagne. There is bus after bus, like the whole place is taken over. And it was just surreal.
Yeah, just watching excellence is pretty cool. Just like the celebration of excellence is pretty cool.
So from growing up and then going to school, did you ever leave, or you've always been in Vegas?
Always been in Vegas since then. So I stayed in Vegas, and I was lucky enough to, when I was in high school, I was lucky enough that UNLV came to recruit another player, and I had a great game. And so the basketball team said, and I was going to leave, I was going to go to St. Louis, but I wanted to stay in town. And the basketball coach said, hey, really like your game. You want to stay at UNLV? I was like, really? I was like, oh, that would be perfect because I was going to have to move to St. Louis because my mom wanted me to go play, go back to Washington University in St. Louis. And they're like, no, invited walk on. You can join us at UNLV. I was like, perfect. I get to stay in town. So I never left. And then, ended up meeting my wife there. I mean, it just, UNLV's been home.
Now, did you always play in the Thomas and Mack?
Yeah, after high school, just got that 2 seasons I was there, part of the team, and then we're in the Thomas and Mack. There was before the Mendenhall Center and all that other fun stuff, so it was cool.
When was the first time you went to the rodeo?
First rodeo for me was 2002. So after I was done playing, funny story is the coach who just came in, which is Charlie Spoonhour, he was like, hey, I really like you, have a great attitude, but you're not my type of player. He said, but I know you have some interest in working video. And there's a guy here, his name's Damian Costa, and I put a good word in with him for you. And he said he could use some help. So if you want a job or anything like that. And I was like, you know what? Sure. So that was in November of 2002. And then the rodeo came that December, and Damien was like, hey, we need somebody to do reader board. So we used to have these old analog reader boards, and it would say like, it would actually do the top 5 of the round.
Okay. Yeah.
And it would update from there. And then, so that was my job, was updating that. If there's a great ride, I would put like, wow, great ride, and different things like that. And then, so that was my first year in 2002, my first rodeo.
Was that your the very first rodeo you had ever attended and watched?
That was the very first rodeo I'd ever attended, ever.
Oh my gosh. So my brother-in-law and my sister-in-law, they came last year to the NFR, and I got them plaza seats. And so I told them, I said, you guys realize that, he was coming to his first rodeo. I said, you realize this is like your first football game being the Super Bowl. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, so yeah. I hate to say it, but it's going to ruin your idea of what a great rodeo is the rest of your life.
It does.
Like they went to round 9. I'm like, okay, this is game 6 of the World Series that you're going to. So everything else is going to be a disappointment from here on out.
The funniest thing about me is I knew nothing about rodeo. Like when I say nothing. And then so like I just remember like watching some of the events, and I'm like, oh my gosh, this is insane. And then the bull riding started, and then I asked the guy next to me, I said, man, these guys get paid 5 times more than everybody else, right? Like and I remember the round I watched, the guys were getting destroyed.
Yeah.
And they were like, no, everybody gets paid the same. And I was like, and then
not enough.
It was amazing. It was actually one of the weirdest things. Like I said, I knew nothing. So I didn't know what to expect. I didn't know what a great ride was, and then so I was like, oh, he stayed on. Is that a great ride? They're like, 78. And he's like, it was 78. I was like, that sounds great to me. I'm like, he stayed on. Like it just, and then the next thing you know, fast forward, and then like I was just like 2 or 3 years later, I'm like, oh no. Don't worry about that. Don't worry about that. I could call the scores from up top. I'm like, oh, that's probably like a 79.5, man. If you just would have held on a little bit longer, it would have been better. And then so it was, man, just to learn the sport, but walking in like a newborn baby, like I was just like, what is this? And now it's like one of my favorite things to do.
After your first year of rodeo, do you remember what your first like actual project was when it came to NFR?
Okay, so my first year, I didn't understand what I was doing, right? So but I had to put every contestant in to the system because that's the only way you can read the names. So I would type in all the names and do all that stuff. So this next year, Damien left, and then Nevada was here, and there was a guy named Dean Weber. Now, Dean Weber ran all the production for the rodeo. So he was Shawn Davis's like right-hand man.
Okay.
So Dean comes up to me, and he's like, hey, I need someone to make a highlight video for the rodeo. And I want you guys to understand, my degree is in accounting. I had never made it. I had 1 year of learning how to edit videos and different things like that. And they were all just basketball videos. That's the only thing I was in charge of was basketball. I didn't never edited anything until Damien says, hey, you think you could try to edit a video? I'm like, all right. And this is all within like, so within a year, I had made like 4 basketball videos, and that was my only editing experience. And Dean says, you think you could do a rodeo edit? And I was like, I'll try.
Sure.
So I remember I was like, well, how do you get, well, like, what do you use for music for rodeo? So I'm looking for music, and I'm there, and somebody says, just use rock. I was like, just use rock. Okay. So I never edited a rock song, by the way, either, because all my basketball is hip hop. You know what I mean? So
yeah, sure.
So it was
know your audience.
Yeah, know my audience. So so I'm editing this rock song, and then I do an edit, and I have 6 hours to do it.
Oh man!
Because we run those edits right before to open the rodeo.
Right.
And so that's how that started. Because Dean was like, we need something to open the rodeo, and how about a highlight video? So I put this edit together. I was like, I don't know if this is good or not, but here you guys go. And they ran it, came in, they said, oh, whoever did the edit did a great job. I was like, sure. So I'm still winning the sport. And man, thank goodness to the TV truck, because they helped me with the top 3 winning rides. And then so they would give me, here's the 3 winning rides, and here's some B-roll or whatever, but here you go. Just put it together. And that's how I started editing the rodeo videos every year, because it was just stumbled into it. Dean had an idea, and he says, oh, Brian, you think you could do it? And I was like, sure. So that's what I did. I'll be here at 7 a.m. every morning trying to edit videos, because that's how long it took at those times. There was no hard drives. So we had we would tape. And now
tape to tape. Yeah.
I would have to clip the tapes and digitize them and put them into the system. So
there wasn't even like a YouTube to how do I do that? How do I change that? Let's just click around and figure this out.
I just figured it out, and it was fun. And then, that's how I got started.
That's crazy.
So early on in that time period, was there somebody that, being from your background and kind of having more of an urban look at rodeo, was there somebody that really stuck out to you that was like, oh, that guy right there makes me a fan?
All right, it's going to sound crazy. So of course, at that time there was like Fred Whitfield and then I got to be real. It was just like, I didn't know, like I said, it was my first rodeo, right? So I didn't really know black people did rodeo. So I was like, oh, there's a guy, he's good. He's winning. He's
really good. Yeah.
Stuff like that. I'm like, this is amazing. And then, but Billy Ebbauer stood out to me the most. And then I just remember Billy's like, he did this ride, and he was just riding everything. I was like, I got all my money on Billy, because that was just the guy I was just watching. I was like, all my money's on Billy. Billy. I'm like, Fred's cool, but it's all about Billy. And then, of course, Cody Ohl was just amazing. And then just watching him just compete, I was like, he shake his butt when it was just I'm sorry, that was Luke Branquino, but Cody. But just Cody Ohl, just with the sound and his attitude. And I would walk past him every day in the locker room area, and he was just the nicest guy. And I was just like, man, that's a really nice guy. So I was actually like, Fred was, because I identified like visually, but then like actually emotionally watching everybody, it was Billy and Cody Ohl and Luke Branquino, just because he was great for highlight videos, man. Like, anytime somebody shakes their butt, he'd be like, highlight goal, let's go. So that's what that was.
Well, it's so awesome, because guys like Billy Ebbauer, like, it was so easy to root for. You watch him, and it really didn't matter who it was in the building. I don't know. He just had this energy about him where it was like, he's the little guy with a huge heart, and you had to cheer for him, right? He made bronc riding cool for people who were just trying to understand it.
That is exactly right. Because I didn't know. I just know what he did looked cool. I was like, I don't know anything, but what he's doing looks like he should win. And that's what's happening. And I was like, it made me feel like I kind of knew something at that time, but I know I still didn't. I still didn't know what he missed them out. I was like, I don't know what that means.
It looked great to me. I don't know what you're talking about.
Oh gosh.
Talking about some of those legends, I want to kind of highlight a few of the promos over the years that you've had to work on. Because Shawn Davis often would quote, "To look forward is just as important as it is to look back and tell stories." And I think that's something that you've been able to do for our team here at Las Vegas Events. Tell us a little bit about those projects over the years with the legends and those individual tributes.
So today, that's probably my most favorite thing to do, a part of the rodeo week, is when we do the gold card reunion. And I'm not a gold card member, but to hear the stories and to see like the love of what they have for each other, like in the room, it is like, and then I get the honor of interviewing them every year. And then I just remember, and it's sad, like sometimes, because I feel like when you talk to somebody for like 30 minutes, you kind of get like I know them. Like they just told me their story. Like we just bonded for 20, 30 minutes about their story, and they're telling like about their life. And then sometimes they're not here the next year. And it's just one of the cowboy tradition and the rodeo tradition is so prevalent in the room, and that history that they have, it's amazing. I mean, I could say like I've talked to some like truly the legends of rodeo.
Yeah.
And they tell you these stories and they just move you, and you see them, and it's just like it's just hard to explain. Like knowing someone's story and seeing the love, and everybody else tells the same story about that person, it just really makes you true like love the sport.
Are there some that stick out more than others?
Oh man. Yeah, there is Larry Mann.
Yep.
So he was talking about his championships, but then he started talking about his cookbook. And he had more passion almost for his cookbook than he did for his championships. And that was amazing. There was a stock contractor from Oakland just passed away.
Cotton Rosser.
Cotton Rosser. So when he explained how he got started in the rodeo business, and from Oakland, you know what I mean? It's not, Texas or Oklahoma,
right.
Like Oakland. And he's telling me how he got started and how his father, I mean, it was just, the story was just amazing, just like, and it just stuck with me. There was a Nancy Shepherd, and she had so much energy. I remember at the time, I think she was 95 or 94 years old, and she said she still rides every day.
Wow.
More energy than her grandkids. I mean, it was just, I mean, and when you met her, she was just lit up the room. And her story, her energy was just infectious. And she just lit up the room. Red Stiegel. He comes in and he's just telling his stories, and I think it was Red Stiegel that did the song about the bull that I think the bull killed somebody.
Lane?
Yeah, Lane Frost.
Yeah. No, maybe the bull didn't kill him. I'm sorry. It was just it's a song about a bull. And he sang it, and then it made me like the song. It was called
Freckles Brown.
Freckles Brown. Yeah.
Oh, he's talking. Yeah, Freckles Brown, the world champion. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. And then so that was like that was a cool song. Like, and we got him for the first 2 years we did it. He would come in and perform those songs, and he tells the story because his brother, Red's brother, was in rodeo as well. And then so he would tell the stories of him going on tour with his brother, and then he sings the song, and he's just telling rodeo history. It's super cool.
Let's take a quick pause, and we'll be right back. Looking for NFR video content and features? It's all in one place at /Las Vegas NFR. You'll find unique features like the top 35 most memorable moments since 1985, the top 60 NFR contestants of all time, NFR champions recaps, custom NFR videos, and much more. You'll also find NFR performance recaps, insider tips, and interviews you might have missed along the way. Once you dive in, you'll find a lot more great content. There's something for all rodeo fans. The biggest stage, the brightest lights, the Wrangler National Finals Rodeo.
So outside of promos, interviews, and things like that, for those that are meeting you for the first time through the podcast, what is a day in the life of Brian Williams like when the NFR comes to town?
When the NFR comes, well, first off, I work on the rodeo all year long.
Fun fact, it really is 365 days, really,
Yep,
I promise.
all year long. But when the rodeo comes into town, first thing is 8 a.m. meeting. We start to go over the production, and then I'll start to lay out what we're going to do in the live event end of it. So that would be camera shots, making sure what videos are running, how the LEDs are going to interact in the show, and what's required for sponsorship and different things like that. And then after that, I'll edit some clips. So been lucky enough that be able to expand our team. So it's me and another gentleman, Dean. So Dean now does those daily highlight videos, which is crucial. And I do the specialty videos throughout the rodeo. So anything that's required for like employee appreciation. I used to do the vet of the year videos. Okay. Anything that's a specialty video that needs to be played. And if it needs to be created, then I'll start working on those to have them ready to go before show. And then after that, we'll meet again to make sure we know what we're doing before the show starts. I'll make sure all the content's ready to roll, and then we'll meet again. Then we go and I'll execute the live event stuff. So starting at pre-show, we'll start doing some fun, camera shots of the crowd and different things like that. And then we get into the action part of it. And I'm very humble because I have a really strong team of people behind me. So we have about a team of 14 that do the rodeo. I just get the honor of directing them, but they make all the magic happen between camera guys, technical directors, replay ops, graphics, LED operators. I mean, it's a full-fledged team that makes it happen. And and we go through the rodeo, see some action, and try not to mess up.
Then we crown some world champions. After we crown those world champions, we then invite them back to Las Vegas, typically during the summertime. And we do a lot of pieces here at Las Vegas events with our NFR Extra, with the Thomas and Mack team. Talk a little bit about what goes into that world champion photo shoot for you.
A lot of planning, right? So a lot of planning, a lot just to make sure we can execute, right? And so we always find a fun place to shoot. This year is lucky enough it's going to be at the Thomas and Mack, so I don't have to move so far. But we've done, oh my goodness, we've done shoots in the middle of the desert. We've done places that don't exist anymore. We're still trying to sell it, but rooftops and different casinos. I mean, we've been doing a lot. And then so with that, make sure we get the crew, the content, the gear, everything ready to go, so we can light it, script it properly. And we do 2 shooting locations normally. Don't have to do too much behind the scenes, unless if we're doing like a commercial or a branding piece that we want to get while the world champions are here. And it's a full out video shoot that takes days to get ready, but all day to execute. That's kind of how that works. It's a lot of work, all hands on deck from all over, between LVE and the Thomas and Mack staff and all the champions. They're great to work with.
Do you have a favorite year with that world champion photo shoot where there was just a moment you were like, oh my gosh, we're doing this?
You know what? My favorite year is when we went to, what is that place in between here and State Line?
The Pioneer Saloon. Good
Pioneer
Springs.
Saloon. That was cool because we went out there to scout. So we always scouted, had the ghost peppered burger or something like that. It's like, those burgers are so good. I mean, and it's the middle of nowhere. I'm like, how does this still open, because it's in the middle of nowhere? But 2, like the feel and the imagery and everything, it was it was a cool place to shoot. And the food was delicious. I mean, that was like one of the coolest things.
It's one of actually like the first bars in Southern Nevada, supposedly to history. And there's also, if anyone ever goes and checks it out at the Pioneer Saloon, there's also bullet holes in the bar because there was a shootout there. You'll have to look up the details, but it actually is a really interesting and unique place.
Yeah, it was super cool. I mean, it feels class. It feels classic. It feels like you're almost in like 1890.
Oh, absolutely. I mean?
Yeah,
I think it's
so
like
really
1906 when it was instilled or something crazy like that.
Wow.
Oh, yeah,
my favorite is when we shut the strip down and actually had the contestants walk down the strip.
That was crazy because I just remember Michael Mack, you ready? Ready? Metro's ready to shut down the strip. I'm like, we're ready. We got exactly 13 minutes.
Oh my gosh.
So the Cowboys had their horses. We had 13 minutes to shut down from Trop to almost Russell.
Yep.
And we were ready. Like photos were ready, video was ready. I mean, we knocked it out. That was intense because it cost a lot of money to shut down the strip. So
you only had 13 minutes. Literally,
yes.
like there was everyone you could imagine that like was running out with the horses to like stage them in a line. And then you had the full camera photo team like running to set cameras and flash and all those things going on around us that we were like, oh my gosh. And then like 13 minutes was up and we're like, okay, get them off the street, get them off the street. They're opening the roads.
Yep.
And all of a sudden we're just like looking at each other like, did we get it? Like, I hope we got it because we're done.
Yep. Yeah. Everybody recorded. Everybody took your pictures, right? Like, yes, we got something. And then so that was really cool. That one was really cool, actually.
You're at over 2 decades now being with UNLV and the NFR. What do you think has changed over the years? Because you're now on your 3rd GM, so you've seen all kinds of changes, not just with the rodeo, but with leadership. So what's new and different now from when you started?
Technically on my 4th.
Oh, yeah.
That is true. Fair.
Oh, that's right. Glenn Allen Phillips as well. That's right.
Yep. All
that 2020 year, unfortunately.
Yeah. No, you know what? It was tough because it's not tough. You know, under Shawn Davis, he wanted the rodeo to always be the show. And I learned a lot just hearing his philosophies throughout the year because, like I said, I work on rodeo all year. So when we're finished in December, my first call with Shawn is normally in January. So, and then we talk like every other month. Hey, Brian, this is what I got thinking. This is what we're going to do. And then we ramp it up as the year gets closer and closer to December. But then, so then when you transition from Shawn to Boyd was wanted to move the rodeo towards a more more technology enhancing type of vision. And then what I like about Allen has merged the two together. And then so that's what I really liked about Allen is just seeing how he's trying to keep the traditional undertones, but make improvements to the rodeo. So you feel the improvements, but it's not changing your whole view of the actual rodeo. So that's what I can say about that is like, it's been really cool. Allen's been a great leader in making sure the rodeo is moving forward, but still paying homage to the tradition that it's always been.
Well, it's a fine line too, right? Because you still have a lot of traditionalists who are season ticket holders that have 25 years of NFR jackets, but you're also wanting to attract the new 25 to 40-year-old with disposable income, you know, and bring that next generation of fan on. So I think it's smart because you have guys like Allen that are continuing to say, all right, yes, I want the 65-year-old gold card holder to be happy, but I also have to continue to let the median age of my fan base go down because I need next year's fan too, not just this year's fan.
Exactly right. And you have to be able to talk to both.
Yeah.
Because I mean, there's just amazing fans that come to the rodeo. I know because, like, believe it or not, I see the fans more than anybody else, right? I might not talk to them, but I see them the most because I'm behind the camera just looking at the crowd, and they're going to kill it. There's a couple that's been coming to every rodeo for, what, 40 years or something like that?
Yeah, next year will be year 40 in Las Vegas.
Yeah,
this year is year
wow.
40 for Thomas and Mack.
Yeah, and they've never missed one. And, you know, you put them on the Kiss Cam. They got honored a few years ago on the dirt. But they're just like you want to have that love of you want the fan to love your event so much that it is what they do every year.
Yeah.
And then you have the other fans that you have the other people who attend that when they tell you the stories, like, I've been coming here since I was 12 and now I get to compete here in the arena. Like, those are touching stories that, like, no matter what, they've been, the NFR in Las Vegas has been ingrained on who they are.
Yeah.
And that's what we try to protect.
Absolutely. And I think that shines through in a lot of those opportunities to interview, you know, I'll say like the Wright boys, right? Any of them, you get them talking about how they watched dad and uncle and all of them. And now to see them all compete there and see that energy that just exists in the Thomas and Mack, it's just an everlasting moment for everybody here in Las Vegas and especially in that building.
Yeah. I mean, I haven't missed a rodeo in 22 years. Except the COVID year when I went to Texas.
Yeah.
But other than that, I have not missed a perf or anything, right? I mean, rain, sleet, snow, sick, whatever. I got to be here, you know, to execute the job. So when people are telling like those stories, I could actually say like, yeah, I saw your dad.
I remember that.
Dad, yo, that's why you come. And some of them are starting to, you know, shut it down. I'm like, man, I've seen a dad to his sons compete, you know, and it's just like those stories are just it's kind of weird to feel that way because, like I said, I was not a rodeo guy. If you'd have told me basketball, like, oh, I play with your dad, now I'm playing, you know, now I just get to see the son play, that would be one thing, but the rodeo is different.
That it is.
So I know we're always asked to act like we've been there and, you know, treat everybody the same, but has there ever been a rodeo or an athlete in any other sport that you've kind of found yourself possibly a little starstruck?
Oh man. No, just because. Okay.
There was some cool concerts at Thomas and Mack. You can't discredit some of those.
No, but like, well, I'm keeping a rodeo,
all right,
keeping a rodeo, right? But like, Jewel. So Jewel used to date
Ty Murray
rider. Or Ty Murray, yes.
Yep.
So Ty Murray, but there was another bareback rider that was Ty Murray's when I first started doing rodeo. And I want to say his name started with an S, but I can't be 100% sure. But he was like one of Ty Murray's best friends, right? And he would just come in and tell these funny stories about Jewel and Ty Murray. And and I just remember like I couldn't wait for the next story. So like he was the only one I was like, because he would come in, he's like, I got another one for you. I got another one for you. And he would, and they back in those days, probably telling too much information, they would roll a keg in at the end of the night. So the bareback riders get done, and in their locker room, they had a keg each night. He would roll it into our control room with cups. He's like, all right, guys, it's story time. And no joke, he would come in and tell us the funniest stories. And he would do stupid stuff like, anybody want to bet me I can keep my hand in the ice for longer than 10 minutes? I mean, he would just do crazy stuff. And so he was by far like not starstruck, but the person I was most happy to see every year.
Right.
For like 4 years, and then he finally called it quits. But man, he was the highlight of my rodeo every year because end of the rodeo, the beer would be in our control room. He'll be telling funny stories. You could tell he's already kind of full of alcohol already, and he just made it perfect.
Oh, well, it's so funny because right after round 10, I'm not going to name this bareback rider, but I got spun around and he goes, "Come on, you're going to hang out with the bareback riders." And I said, "No, I can't."
Danger.
He goes, "Why not?" I said, "Because I want to maybe do this rodeo again at another point in time. I don't need to be escorted out by security because I decided to hang out with the bareback riders."
Yeah. Growing up in the industry, round 10, with my family's involvement, we always got to meet in the security room after the round 10, and we'd all be down there celebrating whatever. We have a Pendleton whiskey bottle that has signatures from each bareback room and or bull riding saddle bronc. It's our rough stock ding, and it's a tradition that my dad did forever, and family members have always done. But there was very strict rules that I specifically was not allowed to enter those rooms without an escort because of this celebration that would take place. And I remember a couple of years when I was pretty young, I'd walk in there with the Pendleton whiskey bottle, and my dad would look at me and be like, "Oh man, Dad of the Year situation going on right here." And I was like, "But look how cool my bottle is, Dad." I hate to say it too.
At the end of the day, it's still a locker room. So it's not just what's being said, it's what you might see,
Exactly. Exactly.
If those walls could tell stories at the Thomas and Mack, it would be a little scary. I mean, it'd be a good listening, but it'd be a little scary.
Well, Brian, we really appreciate your time. We know you're a busy guy, but we're so thankful for all that you do to beautify the National Finals Rodeo every year. It's a well-oiled machine, but you're definitely one of the most important spokes in the wheel. So thank you for everything that you put together.
I appreciate you guys. And like I said, I can't wait. I wish I would be here this June for the shoot. Somebody had to change the schedule. I'm blaming it on
Thomas and Mack had some graduation things going on. It was important to other people, I guess. I don't know.
Well, we'll get the class of 2024 moved out, and we'll bring the world champions in, and we look forward to seeing you in December when we crown some more world champions.
Awesome. Appreciate it. Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Brian.
Want to experience more of the NFR? Then visit nfrexperience.com. And we invite you to subscribe to NFR Extra on Apple Podcast, Spotify, iHeartRadio, and wherever you're listening right now. If you like what you've heard on NFR Extra, we would love it if you gave us a 5-star rating and tell your friends how to subscribe.